What if I told you that some of your favorite foods might be stealing your energy and you didn't even know it? What's up, y'all? It is week 2 of the series we're calling New Year Now. And if you didn't get a chance, go ahead and check out week 1, where we talked about why you should start your 2026 now. And just like the urgency of gaining your momentum now before we head into the new year, is super good. But today, as you can tell from the title, we're going to be talking about healthier eating, having a healthier appetite, you know, cleaning up our diet, cleaning up how we fuel ourselves. Oftentimes, one of the number one New Year's resolutions is to eat better and work out, right? And I want to talk about why it's important, one, that you can start now, but just to share my journey of what I've learned in this process. Now, I am no nutritional coach. I am no scientist. I am no psychologist. Yes, I went to school for counseling, all the different things. However, I am just sharing my personal journey, so do not take this as medical advice, but someone who's encouraging you as someone who has struggled with emotional eating and all of the likes, okay? So let's get into it. First, I want to share my journey and my backstory of my relationship with food. Okay, so I am originally from Jacksonville, Florida. Duval, if you know, you know. So I am from the South, even though they try to say Florida ain't from the South, but Jacksonville is literally a hop skipping away from Georgia. So it is from the South. So I remember being in like 2nd or 3rd grade, and I think we were recording a video in elementary school, and they asked, "What's your favorite food, Kiara?" And I was like, neck bones, lima beans, rice, and cornbread. That's how I grew up, okay? I ate good growing up, and that is what I naturally enjoyed. Heavier foods, things that make you feel good, comfort food, right? Soul food, all those different things. That's what I grew up on. Going to the corner store to get you some snacks, you know, a pineapple Fanta, some pickle chips, a hot pickle, a hot egg, pickled egg or whatever, a hot sausage. All those things is what I grew up on, and that's what I absolutely enjoyed to eat. As I got older, I would say what I really got fixated on and what was my favorite thing was hamburgers and french fries, okay? I didn't care where I got it from, because you can't really go wrong with, you know, a hamburger patty, some bread, some fries, and whatever else you like to add on your hamburgers. You know, your lettuce, pickles, tomatoes, whatever that may be. But yeah, when I got married, Wendy's was our number 1 place, and we ate there all the time. So even before then, growing up, I've always had a fast metabolism. So I inherited that from one side of my family, and so that meant I could eat whatever I want, and I never felt it. Like, I never gained weight. Growing up, it took a lot for me to gain weight. I always wanted to be that thick girl, because once again, I was from the South, but I was always the skinny girl. They said I was nothing but skin and bones, and I wanted more for my life, but my body just wouldn't do it no matter how much I ate. And I ate a lot of food, and it wasn't until I started having babies that I realized that metabolism wasn't metabolism like it was before. And so as I was heading into my late 20s and my early 30s, I realized, I'm 35 now, but I realized that, oh yeah, girl, it's sticking to your bones now. It's sticking and it's not going anywhere. And Levi is 5 years old, and you can't keep talking about postpartum. You chose to stay in this life. You still eat however you want, like you're a teenager, and you have no restraint. You eat whatever you want, whenever you want. Y'all love ice cream. Ice cream was my thing. And yeah, it was something I would eat every single night. But anyway, I didn't really have a restraint in my diet because I didn't feel the need to, until I recognized, man, I don't like what I'm looking at. I don't like how my body feels anymore, and I probably should do something about that. So let's talk about when it all changed for me. July of 2024 is when it was. My mother-in-law and my father-in-law decided to take my kids for the summertime, and Jared and I were very protective of our children, still is, and so the idea of them being in another state, another city without us was like crazy. But at the same time, I felt like we needed that reprieve. Like we just needed a break to chill, just have it to ourselves. We had just experienced so much transition, so many different changes, professionally and personally, and it was like, okay, I want our children to enjoy their grandparents, to enjoy spending time with their cousins like I used to do when I was younger. And so I was like, okay, bet, let's get them to Chicago. Got them to Chicago, and that's when the Lord started speaking to me, because I knew I wanted to maximize that time while my children were away. I wanted to be able to say I got X, Y, and Z done while they're away. I was so productive. You know, I wasn't gonna make, oh, I gotta watch the kids or I gotta do something with the kids. Like that was not an excuse for 30 days, 30 plus days or so. And so I was like, I want to take full advantage of this. So in May 2024, Holy Spirit said discipline for destiny while I was washing dishes, and I didn't know what that meant. So I just wrote it down because I really loved the ring of it, and I was like, oh, this is beautiful. But it wasn't until July of 2024 that I realized, that's when he gave me revelation of what it meant. And so my husband was like, a couple weeks before, he was like, hey, we should do a like no sugar diet. And I'm like, for what? I don't got no sugar problem. I'm not doing that. You see me? I'm not doing that. And I was the girl who, I didn't recognize my patterns. I would have a Snickers and a Coke with ice from downstairs at work at 3 o'clock almost every day. Didn't recognize these patterns, but like that's when I would stress eat, and that's when I would pick up these habits that it just became so normal to me, but I didn't know how it was impacting my body. Long story short, the Lord was like, yeah, it's time to take care of you, and the best thing you can do before your kids come back isn't to make all this money and you created this program, you did this for other people, but it's really taking care of you. So I was like, okay, God, what is it? So that's when we got into Discipline for Destiny. I talked to you all about that a little bit before, but during Discipline for Destiny, I decided to detox one thing from my diet, take something away, and I think that was processed sugar. So like if ketchup had sugar in it, I didn't eat it. If the barbecue chips had, you know, sugar in it, I did not eat it. No ice cream, none of these things for 40 days straight. Including a 30-day workout, a spiritual deposit. I think I prayed in the spirit for like 15 to 30 minutes a day, and working towards your dreams, at least 15 minutes a day. So I did that, and that was the start of me saying, oh wait, I can live without sugar, and oh my gosh, I actually have more energy without sugar. Who would have ever thought that? So that was the start of me saying, I can do this. So the challenge is the start of every quarter, and it's for 40 days. So at that point it was July 1st to August 9th or 10th or whatever. And then the next one was in October. So whenever I did come off of the Discipline for Destiny challenge, I would just like partake and like eat certain things. My appetite for it wasn't the same, but I would still eat it, and it would pick back up a little bit more until I did the next challenge. And so went back into it October. I think I removed white rice because I ate a lot of rice, and boom, so I started noticing like, oh, I'm not as bloated as I normally was. Okay, that's interesting. Fast forward to I'm doing this challenge. I'm like doing great for these 40 days, and then after that, not a lot of restraint, but I recognized that I didn't really have an appetite for the things that I wanted. And if I did want something sweet, I could take a couple bites and be like, oh, I'm satisfied. That had never happened in the course of my life, ever happened in the course of my life. So then a couple months, I believe it was March of 2025, and there was a couple people at my church that was doing a Whole30 situation. So Whole30 is where you literally only eat whole foods, and there are a number of things that you cannot eat, including white rice, no rice at all, no quinoa, like no grains, including corn is a grain, so like corn chips, all those different things eliminated. No bread, because that is a grain. No processed sugar. Like literally everything that I was doing for Discipline for Destiny, I would remove one thing every challenge, but Whole30 made me remove everything. So I was eating avocados and eggs and ground beef and you know, salads and fruits and nuts, and that's all I ate, y'all. And I noticed an extreme difference in my body. My energy returned. I was slim. I realized that I was losing inflammation in my body, in my face, all the different things. And I was like, whoa, this is a game changer. And I had been doing it in little spurts in different ways, but to eliminate everything was beautiful. And when I started to reintroduce the things that I love to eat, like we ate rice and beans every day in our house. Like you would think that we were Latinos, but we're not. We eat rice and beans all the time. So I started, and also with Whole30 you don't eat beans either. So I didn't have any rice or beans for 30 days. You had to do it for 30 days. Y'all, when I started eating rice again, I was like, ooh, whoa, I could feel my body processing it. And I realized it made me really gassy, but also bloated. And I'm like, huh. So I ate some bread. That bread sat in me, I guarantee you, like for 4 days. I could feel it sitting in my body. And the bloating, my belly was so huge. And growing up, I had always dealt with extreme bloating. I'm like, oh, that's just me. But then I was like, I might have a gluten sensitivity my whole life, and I just literally didn't know it because I just always ate these things. Long story short, once I removed those different things out of my diet, I recognized that, man, my body does not enjoy these things, and I can remove them from my diet. And I actually have more energy. And the older I'm getting, the more I recognize that my energy matters. We say that at our church. But my energy does matter. And so, like, I don't want to show up tired to work. I don't want to show up tired with my kids because we just had a great big Sunday dinner, or I had waffles for breakfast and now, like, I'm cloudy in my mind. All these different things made me realize that, hey, it really is true that food is for fuel, and how you fuel yourself will determine how you show up. And all I wanted to do now was show up well, energized, and feeling good in my body, because as I got older, I'm recognizing that how I feel in my body really matters. So long story short, in my process of trying to eat better and be better with my nutrition, I recognized that I needed to start to eat how I wanted to feel instead of eating my feelings. And I was guilty for that emotional eating, whether I was happy, sad, excited, wanted to celebrate. Everything revolved around food, sugary food, salty food, bread, the pastas. I didn't have pasta either, y'all. All of these things were removed, and I realized that no, I want to eat based on how I want to feel today. If I want to feel good today, I'm going to eat well. And now I'm in a space where I'm learning to get a healthy balance, because sometimes you do have to go through those extremes where, you know, you have to remove things from your diet so that you can really see the impact that it's making on you. And now that I'm in this place, I now have a healthy relationship to say, hey, if I want a brownie every 3 months or so, I can have the brownie, because 90% of my diet, 95% of my diet is good, and learning that everything is good in moderation. And so I've learned not to have that mindset of eliminate everything is bad for you. I don't think so. I think you should enjoy food, but I think that food isn't just for enjoyment. That is not the primary goal of it. I really do believe that it's for fuel, and you get to enjoy it additionally, like as a bonus, but it's not the place that I go to for my joy and for my fulfillment, if that makes sense. So why am I sharing all this with you? Because I know that there are so many of you who have tried, you know, cleaning up your diet. You have tried to eat well. For my saints, we have fasted, did a Daniel's fast, and we felt empowered to go, you know, another 10 days in our Daniel's fast, because it's like, okay, maybe I want to be vegetarian. Maybe I want to be vegan. I can do this Daniel's fast thing because we felt a good difference in our body. But then after that, like after a while, it just, our mind wasn't there. And so I just want to encourage you in this process that there are some things that you can do now before you get into this new year. It was a process. This process has started since July of 2024. It took me a year and some change to get to a place where I have a healthy relationship with eating, that I really don't eat a lot of bread anymore. When I do get a hamburger, because I still love hamburgers, I do not eat 2 buns. There is no reason to have 2 buns on my hamburger and also have starch with fries. Like literally little things started to happen to make me realize that you don't really need that, Kiara. And there are other things you actually enjoy, but you didn't know. You didn't give you didn't give yourself an opportunity to enjoy acai bowls because you was always eating ice cream. And now you found out you absolutely love acai bowls because you can get the fruit and the cold and the crunch and like the textures is what I'm after. I recognize that in my journey. So I say all that to say that you can start now. And you should start now. And it doesn't have to be complicated to start now. And you don't have to go into all or nothing thinking. Now, whatever works best for you is what works best for you. If you need to start in baby steps and just eliminate one thing out of your diet, try it for 30 to 40 days. Take the candy out of your diet. Take the sodas out of your diet. If that's where you want to start, I encourage you to start there. Number one, remove something from your diet, okay? Number two, start recognizing why you're eating. I realized in my Invisalign journey, y'all, I love to snack, but sometimes I was snacking because I was bored. Like I literally just needed something to do, and so I started eating things. But I want you to start recognizing, why am I eating? Am I hungry right now, or am I angry? And if I'm angry, what do I need to process before I go to get something to eat? Can I just walk for a little bit? Or can I thoughtfully consider, okay, I'm angry right now, I want some ice cream, but maybe I can get an acai bowl. You know, I want to crunch on something right now, maybe I can go get some cucumbers or carrot chips or something like that. I know it sounds extreme, but sometimes when you find healthy alternatives, you can stick with those. Plantain chips have been my thing. I used to eat plantain chips all the time in Florida, and I stopped and I went back to potato chips, but plantain chips have been my new alternative. Love hummus, carrots, and jalapenos, y'all. It's like a healthy nacho situation. It's great. But find alternatives to what you are currently eating and go from there. And number three, if you're not yet ready to make a physical decision to change your eating, I would say feed your mind. Feed your mind. Start reading about food, different diets. For some people, vegan works for them, vegetarian lifestyle, a Mediterranean lifestyle, keto. You don't have to get into the fad diets, but just read about them and just fuel your knowledge and your mindset around food, and then eventually your body will follow. That is always going to be my number one key, because sometimes like mentally we're just not there. But if you're not there mentally, go ahead and feed yourself with the tools and the resources so that eventually you can get there. And this is a great time to start. Once again, if you start now, if you start just educating yourself, if you start following people who eat healthy, if you start following healthy food accounts and you start to visualize those things for the next 60 days or so before we go into a new year, I guarantee you it's going to be a game changer for you. And maybe you'll just actually want to start eating the food that you see all the time. Okay, so once again, I pray that this has been a blessing for you. Wanted to share my story as we are endeavoring to start our new year strong. Like I already shared, the new year has already started. So you may as well go ahead and get into it. Build up your momentum. Remember, your decisions are more powerful than a date. So what you decide to do now is more powerful than, you know, the clock striking 12 midnight on January 1st. Things aren't magically going to change because a new date changed on the calendar, but your mind is your biggest change agent. So start there. Feed your mind and your body will follow. Your actions will follow. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Okay, I love y'all so much. If you have any questions about just a healthy eating journey, feel free to share it below. Would love to talk about my journey. And yeah, love y'all. See y'all soon. Bye.